Hello, students, and welcome. Today, we are going to learn about a very important part of English grammar, adjectives. Think of them as the words that add all the color and detail to your sentences, making them so much more interesting.
Okay, so here's what we'll be covering today. First, we'll figure out what adjectives actually are. Then, we'll look at all the different kinds, like quality, quantity, and a few others. And right at the end, we'll wrap up with a quick summary and some handy exam tips.
So, let's begin with our first section. We're going to ask a very simple question. What are adjectives, and why do we even need them? Now, I want you to just imagine this sentence for a moment. The boy stood on the road. It's a complete sentence, right? But it's a little boring. What does the boy look like? Is he tall? Is he short? What about the road? Is it a busy road, a quiet one? We just don't know.
Okay, now what if I say this instead? The brave boy stood on the dangerous road. See the difference? Suddenly we have a much clearer picture in our minds. We know what kind of boy he is brave. And we know what kind of road it is, it's dangerous. Those two words, brave and dangerous, made all the difference.
And that is exactly what adjectives do. So the main thing to remember is this. An adjective is a describing word. Its job is to tell us more about a noun or a pronoun. In our sentence, boy and road are nouns, and brave and dangerous are the adjectives describing them. Simple, isn't it?
Now, adjectives aren't all the same. We can actually group them into 6 main kinds, based on the type of information they give. Now, don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. We'll go through them one by one.
All right, let's start with the first and most common type, adjectives of quality. I bet you use these all the time without even thinking about it.
So, adjectives of quality tell us about the nature or quality of a person or a thing. The easiest way to spot them is to ask the question, what kind? For example, what kind of soldier? A brave soldier. What kind of teacher? A kind teacher. Can you think of some more? What about a beautiful flower or a sunny day? All of these are adjectives of quality.
Okay, moving on. Next, we're going to look at 2 types of adjectives together because they can sometimes be a little confusing. But don't you worry, there's a very simple trick to tell them apart.
First, let's talk about adjectives of quantity. These adjectives answer the question, how much, and we use them for things we cannot count. Things like water, sugar, or rice. We can't say 1 water or 2 sugars, right? So instead, we say things like, I drank much water, or there is little time left.
And then we have adjectives of number. These, as you might guess, are for things that we can count, like books, pens, or friends. They answer the question, how many? So for example, we can say there are 10 students in the class, or she ate 2 mangoes. They can also tell us the order of something, like the first person in a queue.
This slide here makes the difference really clear. See, on the left we have things you can't count that answer how much, and on the right we have things you can count that answer how many. So just remember, quantity is for how much and number is for how many.
All right, great job. We're now on to our next section. Here we'll look at 2 more really interesting types of adjectives. One kind that helps us point out things, and another that helps us ask questions.
So, demonstrative adjectives are like pointing words. Think about it. When something is near you, you say this book if it's one, and these books if there are many. And when something is far away, you say that boy for one, and those boys for many. See? You're using the words to point out exactly which one you mean.
Next up are interrogative adjectives. These are words we use to ask questions. Now, the most important thing to remember here is that these adjectives, like which, what, or whose, must be followed by a noun. For example, if you ask, which shoes should I wear? The word which is an interrogative adjective because it's right before the noun, shoes. And now for our 5th and final type of adjective, before we do a quick summary. This one is all about showing who owns something.
These are called possessive adjectives, and, well, the name says it all, doesn't it? They show possession or belonging. They answer one simple question, whose? Let's look at these examples. Whose aunt? My aunt. Whose book? Her book. Whose house? Our house. Can you see the pattern? Words like my, your, her, our, and their are possessive adjectives, and they always come right before a noun.
Fantastic work, everyone! We have now covered all 6 main kinds of adjectives. So for our final section, let's do a quick revision of everything, and then I'll give you a simple tip to use in your exams.
So, here are all the 6 kinds we learned today. Remember,
Each one answers a specific question. Quality asks, what kind? Quantity asks, how much? Number asks, how many? Demonstrative points to, which one? Interrogative helps us ask questions. And finally, possessive asks, whose? This is a very good slide to remember.
And now for that exam tip I promised you. When you get a question in your exam, just follow these 3 easy steps. First, find the noun in the sentence. Second, find the word that's describing the noun. And third, ask yourself one of those questions we just revised, and that will tell you exactly what kind of adjective it is.
And there we have it. I really hope you found this explainer helpful and that you now feel much more confident about using adjectives. So go on, try to add more color and detail to your own writing. What's the first descriptive sentence you're going to write today? Thank you for learning with me.